From WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day as we track a front that could bring some strong thunderstorms to our area. I'll show you the timeline.
And expect crowded airports and roads this Thanksgiving travel holiday. And if you're still packing, we'll explain why you may want to wait a while before you leave.
Plus, it's been 3 weeks since the general election, and we're still waiting for a few key races to be called. We'll explain what's holding up the results.
Weather's quiet for this big travel day today, but Thanksgiving is a WRAL weather alert day. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. We'll take a look at the travel hiccups at RDU and across the country in just a moment. We begin with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner to walk us through when storms could affect our holiday plans.
It's likely to be during the afternoon tomorrow. We have a level 1 risk for severe storms. Wind damage would be our biggest threat, so you want to watch any of your outdoor decorations, especially the inflatables. The timing is from right around lunchtime, around noon to around 5 p.m. We've had to adjust that up just a little bit already today, so it's one of those things. Check in with us this evening, and then again first thing tomorrow morning we'll be on TV starting at 4:30. If you're going to be out and about, headed to a turkey trot, or just generally want to know the update on the timeline for these storms. Right now it looks like there could be a few isolated showers that pop up during the morning hours, but we're not likely to have any thunderstorms until closer to noon. You can see this line starting to develop here in the triangle right there at 12. We get to 1 o'clock and it starts to look a little bit more intense, and then it's likely to be stronger as it moves east of Rocky Mount and Raleigh through Fayetteville, Clinton, and Goldsboro. That's where we could have a better chance of seeing some wind damage. It's out of here by 5, and we start to see some clearing behind it, and of course some much colder temperatures. Our severe threat is level 1 for wind damage. That's going to be our biggest threat. We have the chance of seeing some hail and some isolated tornadoes. Again, that line of storms will bring us that isolated severe threat between noon and 5 o'clock. The highest storm energy, or the best chance of any severe weather, will be just south and east of the triangle. We'll talk more about what we're expecting for tomorrow and a look at some cold air that's headed our way coming up.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, today is one of the busiest travel days of the year, just in time for Thanksgiving. And this is a live look at the misery map across the country. Airports across the country really not doing great right now. Denver International Airport, they're looking at about 84 delayed flights right now. 1 cancellation because of a lot of snow they're experiencing out there. But if you take a look at other airports across the country, we've got 40 delays in Atlanta. New York City, you're looking at 38 delays. Chicago airport's looking at 34 delays. So definitely want to arrive to the airport as early as you can. Here locally at RDU, last check, we're looking at about a dozen delays right now. No cancellations, which is some good news. But again, arrive early as you can, as early as you can if you are flying out. Parking. This is a live look at what the parking situation is right now at RDU. The parking, the premier lot, 90% full. Central parking looking at 84% full. RDU Economy Lot 3, you cannot park there. That is completely full, so you will have to go to the Express Lot or Economy 4, and you cannot book parking the day of online. You have to book at least 24 hours in advance.
And AAA projects 71 million people will put their vehicles in drive for this Thanksgiving. North Carolina drivers will catch a break at the pump. Gas is now $2.88 a gallon on average. It's nearly 20 cents cheaper than it was at this time last year. So when is the best time to hit the road? AAA recommends avoiding the road between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 6 this evening. That's when the backups will be the worst, with commuters and people getting on the road for travel. Tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day, so factor in some slowdowns due to wet roads. And if you're headed home Saturday or Sunday, it is best to get on the road before 1 o'clock.
It's been more than 3 weeks since the election, and we still don't know who won the state Supreme Court seat. A recount is underway now, and it's not over yet. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live at the state Supreme Court with when we can expect to know the winner. Laura.
You know, Renee, this race has been a real nail biter. There's more than millions of votes have been cast, and there's just a few hundred votes separating those two candidates. The recount was supposed to be finished by today, but it's not going to be done until Monday. There are 9 counties as of this morning that are still finishing it up. The race pits incumbent Democrat Allison Riggs against Republican challenger Jefferson Griffin. On election night, Griffin was leading by a slight margin, but after provisional ballots were counted, Riggs took a small lead. Griffin requested a recount as the law allows, and that started last week. But some counties are simply not finished yet. Still, State Elections Director Karen Benson-Bell said it's not actually taking longer than usual. The last statewide recount back in 2020, she said, took about the same amount of time.
We had 5.7 million ballots cast in North Carolina, and those have all are being fed in individually through tabulators. We have some that have the high-speed tabulators that can process more quickly, but it is a very lengthy process.
The recount rules are one of the reasons why it's not a quick process. The team that's recounting those ballots must be bipartisan by law, and members of the County Board of Elections have to be present to oversee the process. Also, it has to be open to the public, and most board members actually have day jobs to go to, so trying to schedule these recount sessions can be a real challenge. We also learned that Wilson County is having to recount due to a technical problem with the recount already conducted. Election officials say that it was basically a computer problem.
Good news for home buyers. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae plan to boost their loan lending amounts next year due to higher home costs during inflation. The mortgage lenders, which are backed by the government, plan to increase their limits by about 5%. The new conforming loan limit will be $806,500 for a one-unit home. That's up $40,000. That limit could go up to more than $1,200,000 in high-cost areas. The current 30-year fixed rate is 6.4%. IKEA is the latest company expressing concern over President-elect Trump's tariffs. The CEO of IKEA says the tariffs will put a strain on international businesses and trade and make it difficult to keep prices low. Trump promised massive hikes on tariffs on goods coming from Mexico, Canada, and China. The Consumer Brands Association, which represents Coca-Cola and General Mills, also warns tariffs will be a, quote, clear and present danger to companies.
We know that staying active and having a healthy diet are keys to good health. But this time of year, with the holidays and cooler weather, it can derail our health goals. Mandy Gaither explains ways you can stay fit and healthy all year long.
The days are shorter, the temperatures colder, and it can make staying healthy harder.
So really going into the winter season with a game plan so that we don't put on 10 pounds during the holidays.
Dr. Keisha Davis with the American Academy of Family Physicians says hone in on what you eat. She says to avoid fad diets and focus on fruits and veggies, which is harder in colder months, but still doable.
It's time to kind of switch to the sweet potatoes, the winter kales, those other vegetables that really sustain us for the winter. And I would remind folks that getting healthy fruits and vegetables frozen is a great option.
Motivation to exercise can wane in colder temperatures, but Davis says it's still important to be active. She suggests switching up when you exercise to earlier, lighter times of day. Davis says it's also important to designate a time to be active each day. Routines can help keep you on track. And she says to be prepared to work exercise in.
Maybe it's just walking around your home or apartment complex. Maybe it's walking up and down the stairs. Maybe it's doing just some chair yoga. There are so many free videos that you can find on the internet that will just make sure that you are moving, staying active.
Davis says exercise during darker, colder months can also improve mental health, but she says it's also important to stay connected to others.
This is also an opportunity to build community, come close to the folks that you know and love.
That was Mandy Gaither reporting. And keep in mind, this time of year often brings with it a lot of stress, anxiety, maybe even depression. Reach out to a doctor for suggestions on managing those symptoms.
If you want to give back this holiday season, you can donate a coat to a child in need during WRAL's annual Coats for the Children campaign. We encourage you to donate new or gently used coats, hats, sweatshirts, or other warm clothing to support families in need. For a list of neighborhood Jiffy Lube drop-off locations or to make an online financial donation, go to WRAL.com/coats.
Just in time.
Yeah, once that front moves through, we are going to really need those coats.
Not going to rebound anytime soon either. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with what's ahead for tomorrow's Weather Alert Day.
We have a level 1 risk for severe storms, and you can see the extent of that does cover most of the viewing area. Our more likely chance of seeing severe storms is going to be from the Triangle area south and east. Isolated tornadoes are not out of the question, but this does not look like a big tornado outbreak for us. We could see some hail, but strong gusty damaging winds are going to be our biggest threat. Here's a look at the storm system right now. Still not looking at a lot of thunder and lightning with this, but as we get into the afternoon, we'll likely have some thunderstorms that start to develop in association with this system. It has produced a good bit of rain to its north and then some snow across parts of Colorado. It's really starting to pile up there. We're not likely to see a whole lot of rain out of this because it's going to be moving through fairly quickly. We pause here at 5:30 in the morning. I know a lot of folks may be up early cooking turkeys or maybe hitting the road to get to your holiday destination. Notice there are just a few showers that pop up between 6 and 7, and then maybe another isolated shower then between, say, 8 and 9 o'clock. Once we get to lunchtime, we start to see right here at noon our line of thunderstorms developing. It begins to get a little bit longer, stretching all the way toward the Virginia line and back down here through the Sandhills. Just a few cells popping up along it. Our best chance of storms with this is going to be along and east of the Triangle area. You can see it gets a little bit more intense during the afternoon. That's 3 p.m. And then by 4 or 5 o'clock, it looks like it's heading out. Now, I will say, following the models all morning long, we have seen a little bit of change. It's starting to trend a little bit earlier. Yesterday was trending a little later. So be sure to check in with Kat this evening and then check in with me again very early tomorrow morning. We'll have the very latest look at the models in terms of the timeline. But right now, it looks like it would be noon to maybe 5 o'clock. Gusty, damaging winds would be our biggest threat. Large hail is possible and tornadoes are possible, but just not terribly likely. A few showers in the morning during turkey trot time, but only about a 20% chance. I don't think I would let that scare me away. I wish that I could do it, but I'll be right here. Our temperatures at the start of turkey trots in the mid-50s, and as they're wrapping up closer to around 60, it will be a nice mild day. We're starting to see a bit more cloud cover ahead of the system here. Plenty of people up and down Salem Street now enjoying the nice weather, probably getting a few errands done before tomorrow. 60 degrees is our current temperature, and we're pretty dry with that dew point of 36. Around town today, 63 in Durham and Raleigh, 68 degrees in Fayetteville. And if you're going to be traveling this evening, either by car or by plane, it looks nice. We're still going to have dry conditions, temperatures in the 50s between 5 and 7 o'clock. But as Renee said a little while ago, behind the front, boy, things are really going to cool off. Take a look at this. On Sunday, December 1st, 51. And then after that, Monday and Tuesday, even Wednesday, are in the 40s. And the morning lows are down into the 20s. So that's going to be the coldest air that we've seen so far this season. Look at that. Wind chill on Saturday and Sunday morning, 1 in Boone. For us, Saturday and Sunday, though, temperatures will feel like mid-20s, and then we'll drop into the mid-20s by early next week. So a little bit more about tomorrow's Weather Alert Day. We're going to talk about some of the amounts of rain that we could see. We'll go over the timeline again. And boy, look at that. It's really going to be cold for us as we kick off December.
I don't know if I want to look at that. It's coming. Elizabeth, thanks. If you're planning a fall road trip, this story is for you. A flat tire is always a bummer, but having a spare can help you get back on the road quickly. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, 5 on your side's Keely Arthur reveals what you need to know before a tire emergency strikes.
And at 5, despite Governor Roy Cooper's veto, the General Assembly's Hurricane Helene relief bill still has a chance of passing. How it could limit local government's power, though, when it comes to zoning and development.
The first one was 1990 at Madison Square Garden, and it was fun. I thought, well, this will be fun for a couple of years.
Well, now it's 35 shows and still going strong. We'll hear from the co-hosts of the National Dog Show about this year's spectacle.
And if your holiday involves boarding your pets while you're away, stick around. What you need to know and look for when finding the right accommodations. So pretty out there. A couple of pre-Thanksgiving dinner holiday traditions are returning tomorrow here on WRAL. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade gets underway at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, there'll be dancers from the Triangle showing off their moves on national TV during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, with 69 local high school dancers from the Holly Springs School of Dance representing North Carolina in New York City. It'll be the school's 8th appearance in the parade since 2003.
And dancers from Legacy Dance Productions in Zebulon and Hillsborough Cheer and Dance will also be there. Clinton High School senior Bailey Waters will play in the Macy's Great American Marching Band.
And after the parade, get ready for the National Dog Show. Mark Barger previews the canine extravaganza.
Well, all the good ones want to be here, but I think it's going to be a year for little dogs.
There was a time when David Fry might have been part of another Thanksgiving tradition instead of the National Dog Show.
I wanted to become a coach. I thought my career was paved with AstroTurf, and instead it was paved with wee-wee pads.
But the initial switch to dog shows scared him to death.
The first one was 1990. At Madison Square Garden, and it was fun. I thought, well, this will be fun for a couple of years. And
35 years and 50 shows later,
he had a great year, John.
Fry will co-host his 23rd National Dog Show Thursday with John O'Hurley.
Well, this is Christmas right here. When you bring a dog into a room, everybody looks at the dog and everybody smiles. And dogs have a habit of doing that kind of that kind of magical a transfer of energy.
There it is! A Sealyham Terrier named Stash won last year's Best in Show. Top specimens representing 205 canine breeds will be vying for this year's crown.
It's called a dog show, and you got to show, and they've got to have that certain pizzazz and personality that fits their breed, and show that to the judge, and they've got to be having a good day.
It's a beautiful dog.
But I'll give you the spoiler alert right now. The dogs don't care who wins. Hello, sweetheart.
Just an innate happiness.
Oh, look at that.
That keeps dogs as man's best friend. Mark Barger, NBC News.
It is a black tie affair. Just kick up your feet and stay tuned to WRAL's noon news, while you might want to wait a few hours before hitting the road for your Thanksgiving journey.
And as you prepare to travel, here's something to consider. Some airports are seeing an uptick in vehicles stolen from their parking lots. Who's behind the thefts and what's being done to stop them? First, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Welcome back. More than 71 million people are expected to take a road trip this Thanksgiving travel weekend.
Good news is gas prices are lower than they were this time last year. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey reports that if you're still sitting at home right now, you may want to wait until after 6 tonight to leave to avoid the holiday traffic.
We're expecting to see thousands of drivers traveling along I-95 over the next few days this week. And there's good news for drivers today. Gas prices are lower. New numbers released from AAA earlier today show the average price of gas is $2.88 a gallon here in North Carolina. That's nearly 20 cents cheaper than this same time last year. Now, let's talk about the best times to hit the road this week. The easiest way to avoid the worst of the traffic is to travel on Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. But you heard during our forecast that tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day, so slick roads may be an issue. We spoke with AAA about the best times to start your road trip today.
If you can avoid those times, between maybe 1 p.m. and 6 p.m., that's when you're going to probably see the most congestion. You'll have kind of a mix of travelers and commuters, in those hours.
If you're filling up before your trip, go to WRAL.com and search for the fuel tracker. There you can find the cheapest gas prices here in our area. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Johnston County.
From Chicago to Ohio, New York to Charlotte, a similar scene is playing out at airports across the country. Millions of passengers are rushing to get to their Thanksgiving destination. And a coast-to-coast storm is threatening to disrupt one of the busiest travel periods on record. Heavy snow and heavy rain expected from the Midwest to the East Coast. Elizabeth Gardner will return in 15 minutes with what we can expect during tomorrow's Weather Alert Day.
We have a consumer alert for anyone who's flying this holiday season and leaving their vehicle parked in an airport parking lot. Authorities are warning rings of car thieves are on the prowl at major airports across the country. Emily Ikeda has what travelers need to know.
Adding to the stress of holiday travel, tonight new warnings over thieves targeting cars parked at airports across the country. At the world's busiest airport, more than 300 cars have been stolen this year, according to Atlanta police, 3 times as many as last year.
It is frustrating. We're not the only airport that is experiencing this increase in auto thefts. We are taking steps to prevent this.
There is something very off.
It happened to Atlanta resident Wes Clark. When he was traveling overseas last month, his BMW was taken.
I parked intentionally right by a camera, so super surprised when the car was gone.
In Texas, police say they recently arrested the leader of a Cuban auto theft group that targets airports in multiple states, accused of stealing nearly $5 million worth of cars from Dallas-Fort Worth alone, using technology to reprogram key fobs, according to court documents.
If they see something, they need to say something.
Greg Erie oversees security at major airports in the New York City area and says auto theft has progressively become an organized crime issue nationwide.
They're doing it for the increasingly high resale value on these vehicles.
Our teacher of the week grew up in a musical family, so it's no wonder she chose a career in music and shares that passion with her students.
WRAL's Ken Smith introduces us to a Wake County teacher striking the perfect tone with her students.
When Sarah Rhodes was a little older than her current students at Poe Elementary in Raleigh,
woodwinds we blow.
She knew she wanted to teach others how to experience the joy she finds in music.
When I was in kindergarten, I started taking piano lessons and singing at church. But by middle school, when I was in middle school chorus, that was when I decided I really wanted to teach chorus. I wanted to teach singing, the bass. All right.
This is her 11th year in the classroom, introducing her students to different instruments and helping them understand the role music can play in their daily lives.
Seeing kids get so excited and joyful about making music and about remembering and connecting it to their real lives, that's the best.
Over the years, Rhodes says she's learned it's not about getting students to hit the perfect notes, but rather making sure they do find joy in making music.
The bass. I want them to be able to think back on elementary music and be like, oh yeah, I remember her. That was a fun time. We had fun. And have positive feelings about music for the rest of their lives.
Miss Rhodes, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Ken Smith, WRAL News.
Yes, really. If you'd like to nominate a teacher, you can go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
The Thanksgiving feast might be calling your name, but the food we eat is not necessarily good for our pets. Helpful advice to help you avoid a trip to the vet this holiday weekend.
And these ornate instruments may look like world-class electric guitars, but every one of them is fake. Where Border Patrol pulled off a record haul of thousands of counterfeit Gibsons.
You're looking live at Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh with Raleigh Memorial Auditorium there and all the holiday decorations up. And you're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Thanksgiving's about giving thanks, and that includes providing special affection to our furry friends. But instead of showing them love by sneaking them some table scraps, veterinarians are sharing a few ways to help keep your pet safe and happy this holiday season. Sean Langiel reports.
Before you and your family feast this Thanksgiving, veterinarians recommend pet owners show their animal friends a little gratitude. And this holiday season, it can be as easy as setting some boundaries.
The best thing you can do to keep them safe is try and change as little in the environment as you can.
Even if a pet is used to a lot of activity around the home, the extra hustle and bustle on Turkey Day can be overwhelming.
If they're not comfortable around strangers, if there's visitors to your house that don't know the pet, then it's probably best to isolate your pet in another room. Make sure the doors are secure.
And just because folks will be gobbling up a variety of delicacies, it doesn't mean furry friends should also be eating the same foods.
Most pets are not used to eating table food. So anything that's high in fat, anything that contains bones.
Some can even be deadly.
And then there's some specific toxicities, garlic, onion, grapes, chocolate that tend to be around the table. Typically, if dogs ingest something or cats ingest something, they will show signs like excess salivation, they may vomit, they may have diarrhea.
Meanwhile, as many families start decorating for Christmas around this time,
you need to be careful about lights, things that can be chewed on, anything electrical. Open flames, open fireplaces are extremely dangerous.
But accidents can happen even if you're careful. Because many businesses are typically closed during the holidays, vets recommend having a backup plan.
The first thing to know is, especially outside of hours and during holidays, is where your closest emergency veterinary hospital is. Don't wait till there's an emergency.
That was Sean Langill reporting. Maybe you'll be away from your furry friend for the holidays. Before you board your pet, make sure to do your homework. A good place to start is by checking websites, examining reviews, and getting recommendations from friends. Next, visit the place your pet will stay and even try a test run. The American Kennel Club also urges you to find a place that has scheduled feeding and play times, and be sure to pick groups by breed size. Finally, don't forget special care such as prescriptions and video check-ins. Or maybe you have that family friend who can also take in your pet for a little while.
You got to choose carefully when you want to walk that pet tomorrow with everything coming in. A WRAL Weather Alert Day. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center timing it out for us.
Yeah, it definitely looks like afternoon, and it does look like a fairly short window. The line of thunderstorms coming through looks fairly narrow, so it's going to move on through, and then we can, carry on with our day. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms for most of the viewing area. One thing to think about, I know everybody's got all those cool inflatable decorations. You may want to just make sure those are secured as that line of storms comes through as early as noon, and it may be out of here, as early as around 5 o'clock. So here's a look at what's happening right now. Snow in Denver and across parts of the Midwest and the plains. Right around the low and the cold front and the warm front, we're not seeing a whole lot of rain or thunderstorms right now, but we do expect that to change in the next 12 hours or so. Futurecast this morning or tomorrow morning at around 5 a.m. Notice just a few isolated showers that roll through. This is going to be along the warm front, which will move through first, and then eventually the cold front comes through. This is 9 a.m. A lot of folks headed out for turkey trots, and it does look like we'll stay fairly dry in the morning. Not completely. There may be a few isolated showers that move through. Between 11 and 12, we start to see the line of thunderstorms developing right here across the triangle. We'll push it ahead to 1 o'clock. It starts to lengthen a little bit all the way up toward the Virginia line and back down into the Sandhills. Not looking terribly dangerous if you take this literally, but the farther south you are, the better chance that we see some of those cells turning a little more intense. By 2 o'clock, we're seeing that just in our eastern counties along and east of I-95. And then by 3 to 4 o'clock, it's really pushing out of the area. We may see a little bit of sunshine during the afternoon. Now, we don't often try to take these models literally. Sometimes they're moving a little faster, a little bit slower than what actually happens. So just be weather aware starting around lunchtime, all the way through the afternoon, and check in with us. We'll be on TV. And of course, you can also check in with us on WRAL News Plus. We'll be there live as long as there are severe storms or any thunderstorms to talk about. This is a look at our storm fuel. It's weak there in blue, but it starts to turn green. We're right around lunchtime. You can see that line, really all from the triangle area southward and eastward, as that moves through up until around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So again, our best chance of any stronger storms will be from the triangle area south and east. Be on the lookout later on this evening. Check in with Kat to see if they actually shift that back edge of the severe weather threat a little bit farther to the south and east. They did an update, the Storm Prediction Center did, right about 12:30. They didn't change anything, but there's been some discussion amongst those folks about that. Wind damage would be our biggest threat. There's a very small chance of hail or tornadoes. There's really no chance of flooding flooding with this. It's going to move in and out so quickly that we just won't see a whole lot of rain with it. One thing to do is try to get everything settled before lunchtime. Watch out for those inflatables and know that there could be a few isolated power outages. Most of those would be south and east of Raleigh. This afternoon, 63 degrees, good travel day. Everything looks fine. We're clouding up, but we're not going to see any rain. 69 for Thanksgiving Day and then 55 on Friday. That opens the door to some well below average temperatures that we will see starting over the weekend. 40s on Saturday, 51 Sunday, 40s for highs on Monday and Tuesday. Wind chill at the beginning of the week will be in the 30s, and some morning wind chills could be in the teens. Are you ready for that?
We're going to have to be. We don't have a choice. That is burr, though. This is being called the largest counterfeit musical instrument seizure on record. Agents confiscated thousands of fake Gibson guitars. How much they would have been worth if they were real.
Here's a look at the winning Mega Millions numbers: 5, 22, 24, 39, 42. The Mega Ball is 3 and the Mega Plier is 3.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. Today's big Thanksgiving travel day, so millions of people are catching flights and hitting the road to get to their holiday destinations. At RDU, things have been busy so far, but the good news is we are seeing fewer than 20 delays so far, and there's been a steady flow of traffic on our roads across the area as well. You can count on WRAL to keep an eye on travel for you throughout the day and during our evening news starting at 4.
It's been more than 3 weeks since the election, and we still don't know who won the state Supreme Court seat. With millions of votes cast, only a few hundred separate the two candidates. Incumbent Democrat Allison Riggs against Republican challenger Jefferson Griffin. We expect to know the winner by Monday.
St. Augustine's University Board commissioned an independent auditor to investigate claims against the board chairman. The audit says Brian Boulware, not the university, received the finder's fee for securing a loan in 2023. This came from allegations in a lawsuit filed by a group of alumni and supporters of the university called Save SAU. We are working to find out why there is a discrepancy between the audit and a 2023 financial audit.
Some of them look like signature models for rock legends, and some even appear to be autographed by Slash of Guns N' Roses fame. But every single one of these guitars that we're about to show you is fake. We're talking about 3,000 fake Gibson electric guitars seized in Los Angeles. The items likely wouldn't have made it on the shelves at well-known retailers because they typically work directly with Gibson. If the guitars had been real, they would have been worth more than $18 million.
From those fake guitars to gold coins worth millions, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has recovered 37 gold coins that were stolen nearly 10 years ago. The coins were taken from the 1715 shipwreck off the coast of Florida. They're valued at $1 million. A crew that was working on salvaging that shipwreck reported some of the coins, but 50 of them were stolen. Authorities were tipped off to the illegal sale of multiple coins, those gold coins, this summer.
Our pet of the day comes from Cat Angels Pet Adoptions. Meet 2-year-old Janie here. She's calm and chill for her young age and has the most unique and stunning swirly coat. Janie may be shy at first, but she is eager to make new friends and will quickly warm up to those who show her patience and love. Then you'll find her threading around your legs when it's dinner time, and you'll be able to hear her sweet purr. If you'd like to meet her in person, just fill out an application on the Cat Angels website.
This is a unique coat. She's